Here is why I said no to a degree in law or finance. So earlier this year, I got the idea to apply for universities in Sweden. So I applied for a law degree and a finance degree. And I got into both of those, law in Uppsala and finance in Gothenburg. And I really thought about this for a long time, if I should accept these challenges to accept either of these degrees, or if I should decline the opportunity. But the more research I did, the more it got clear to me that I should not take on any of these new challenges. Because if I would accept a position at one of these universities, I would also accept to about 40k of student debt. And right now I'm debt free, so that would feel like kind of a burden to take on, and that would actually move me away from financial freedom. Another aspect of it is that it's quite expensive living in any of these cities. So renting an apartment in one of these cities would cost quite a lot of money, and it would be quite a substantial investment for these 3 years. Another aspect of it is that AI is replacing many of these jobs. For example, accountants and administration in business, for example, all of those jobs are now being replaced by AI, or many of the entry-level jobs. Also entry-level jobs in law are also replaced by AI. Also, earlier this year, I had a conversation with my accountant, and she said they had opened up a position to have someone helping them with doing bookkeeping. And they had so many applicants from all over Sweden. They had hundreds of applicants. And she said that many of them had come straight from university, others had worked in like the grocery store a couple of years after they got their finance degree. So she said that competition is extremely hard in business and finance administration at the moment. So to me, these two opportunities that I'm really grateful that I had the chance to choose from, they are not actually as good to me as I initially thought. So the upside is quite low, and the downside is quite large actually. Because if I instead took that 40k and invested that in a low-cost index fund, for example, in 10 years that would be 80k, and in 20 years that would be 160k. Also, one aspect why I think many people go to university and study is because then they know what to do each day. They have someone else has done the routine for them. They don't need to be proactive themselves with what they should spend their time doing. Someone else dictates their day, and many people find that comforting. So before just saying yes to a degree at the university, it could make sense to weigh the options against each other and see what actually would be the best thing for you. If you are 18 years old, 19 years old, maybe it would be totally awesome going to university and studying one of these degrees or something else that you really enjoy. But it could also make sense to do other things, to explore life in another way. For example, in my early 20s, I had the opportunity to go around touring in different parts of the world with a band, setting up shows in India, for example, which was a really cool experience. I was the fundraising manager for a retreat center in India that gave so much experience and knowledge about money and finance that I could never get in a degree. I started out running my own businesses really early on, and that gave me such a head start compared to someone else that was actually in university at that same time. I'm not saying that that is an easy choice, but if you are proactive, if you can dictate your own day and set the agenda for yourself, put up goals, work towards them, it could make sense not going to university, building something from scratch for yourself, and it might turn out just great. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again next week.